Hey everybody, Lakes Region Aquariums here today. I have purchased some awesome new fish. I'm really excited. I'd hardly ever buy myself fish, but I got myself some new fish. Ember tetras, really cool. Never tried them out in Plant City before. Thought they'd look really good against the plants and everything. Had a nice coupon, so I thought I'd use it on some fish of my own. So super exciting. It's always a really good day when you get yourself some new fish, for sure. But I want to cover a topic I said I would cover in the past during another video about fish acclimation, and if you have read the title correctly, it is going to be a fish acclimation and how I do the drip acclimation, which is something I've been wanting to cover for a long time. If you've watched my videos in the past, I have done a regular type of acclimation where you put the bag into the tank, you let it get used to the temperature of the aquarium, and you cut a hole in the bag and you kind of pour water in throughout the acclimation, which usually ends up being around like a 30-minute acclimation or something like that, maybe a little bit more. More is always a little bit better, but these guys have just come from a fish store. They are excited to get into a new aquarium, but they're very stressed out. So stress is the #1 killer in fish, and this is a very stressful time for them, and it does not help for me to be screaming right next to their bag, I'm sure. So I'm going to get these guys into a separate container where I can show you a little bit more of how I do this drip acclimation. Alright everybody, so now I have the fish in a new container. It's a big water jug that I keep for transporting fish. I always like this thing because it has a nice container where I can just open the little cap and they have a little bit more air. The reason I like getting them into these things is because they've been in a closed bag the whole time, and sometimes pet stores will tie the bag weird and you won't have enough air in the bag to sustain them for a little bit of time, especially if your name is Marcus. These guys definitely need to be taken out of the bag as soon as possible, basically. That is the most important thing, because time is of the essence. You definitely want to get them into an acclimation as soon as possible. I drive a lot, and my fish store is kind of far away from me, so these guys have been in a bag for a long time. So the first thing I do is I take them out of the bag and I get them in this little device here. And to start a drip acclimation, all you're really going to need is an old air tube, or a fresh air tube. Doesn't really matter, as long as you have a nice long air tube that's able to get tank water into the little device for you. Now mine's a little funky. A lot of times you can get a little attachment that'll go on the air tube itself, and it's like a little valve where you can kind of control the water flow. I have one somewhere, but I can't find it for the video, of course, so it is what it is. But I have kind of rigged this air tube itself. I poked a whole bunch of holes with a thumbtack throughout up here, kind of where the tube is. I don't know if you can kind of see it. Not really, but they are on there. So that's going to kind of slow the flow a little bit, and also I have tied this little pretzel down here to kind of kink the tube a little bit. Just a little bit, because we still want some flow, we just don't want a whole bunch of flow, because basically what we're doing is we're taking our aquarium water and we're slowly introducing it to these fish right here that are in store water still. So the thing we want to do is slowly get them used to this water as slow as possible, just because we don't want to do it quickly. If we did it quickly, then the fish are going to just go in shock anyway, because they're being introduced to new water very rapidly. It's kind of no different from just opening the bag and letting them go into your aquarium. This is the least stressful way, I believe, of how to acclimate fish to a new aquarium. So I'm going to start the siphon now. Got to suck on the end to start the siphon, kind of like you would do a water change, just on a smaller level. These hoses act a lot quicker than a aquarium, like a siphon hose would. So just be careful you don't get that fish tank water in you. It happens to the best of us, so if it does happen, it's not the end of the world. But here we go. I'm going to start that siphon. Okay, so we got it right there. You can always pinch down on the hose if you're really trying to get a desired speed of water flow. You can pinch down with your finger or find like a clamp or something, and then you can adjust it that way. And that's only if you don't have the valve. The valve makes it so much easier. I wish I could find mine. I do not find it, but I'm just showing it. You can do it any kind of way. So it's a nice steady drip right there. It's going really well. Now when the water gets too high in this thing, you can always pour out a little bit of the water from this container and continue doing this for as long as you really are comfortable with. The longer is better. It gives them a little more time to get used to the water, especially if you're doing a really slow acclimation. You just want to be careful if it's too slow of the temperature. With a steady speed like this, the tank temperature is going to keep up with this, the temperature within here. So you don't have to worry about a temperature difference, but if you're doing a really slow drip acclimation, then you can, like this, like if you're doing a really slow kind of drip acclimation like that, that's going to take forever, and the tank, you know, it'll just cool off before long. So you want to be careful of that. So I'm going to let this drip continue, and I'll just kind of fast forward to the next portion of the video. Alrighty, so I just did some work on Meg's tank, because you never want to walk away when you're doing a drip acclimation unless you have some sort of water alarm that can hang on the rim of this thing, or a bucket, whatever you're using. So you just want to be careful of overflowing, and obviously I don't want it to get too high because these fish are stressed out right now and they might leap out, but it looks like they're really hanging down towards the bottom. That's why I like using the darker colored things, because I think it really helps de-stress them. If this was like a super brightened thing, like flashlight on them, or a big old light just shining on them, I think that would make it a little more stressful for them. So this is why I like using the darker objects for this. But it took about maybe, I think I was working on Meg's tank for maybe 35 minutes or so. I had it a little slower than I wanted it to be, but I got a good amount of water in there for them to acclimate. So now I'm just going to kind of walk away for maybe 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes, and then I'm going to let them into the aquarium. The acclimation should be complete by then. Now again, it's not a race. I mean, you really want to get your fish in the aquarium. I totally get that. But patience is key, especially when it comes to acclimating new fish, because remember, they are already stressed out. You don't want them to be in this longer than they need to be, but you also don't want to put them in too quick to a brand new aquarium, because that's going to be stressful too. I mean, we're doing all this to make it less stressful on their lungs, or on their gills and everything, but we're also about to put them in a brand new environment. That's very stressful for the fish, obviously. There's all this new things for them to look at from being in a store. We want to get them in the tank, but not too fast. Alright everybody, I have a net ready to go, and it's been about 8 minutes letting them kind of hang out in here. So all in all, it was almost a total of a 40-minute acclimation, which in my opinion, that's perfect. And that's where I'm going to leave it on these guys. And so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these fish and I'm going to pour them into this net, take the net and put them into the aquarium, because something you never really want to do, or you want to get into the habit of not doing, is introducing store water to your well-established, beautiful tank water, because you never really know what's in there. I mean, those stores usually see a lot of fish, they see a lot of different, diseases, ick, stuff like that. So you just want to be careful. You never really know what you might introduce to your tank, and always investigate your fish before you buy them. Make sure they're not showing any signs of that kind of stuff. Make sure they're healthy fish, and you should be good. So I'm going to dump these guys in this net right now. I'm going to show you how I release them. Alright everybody, so as you can see, as soon as you put fish into an aquarium, it's very stressful. All the fish that currently already exist in there are going to be all over them. That's just how it is. It's not always malicious. Obviously there might be some nips and everything, but they're just kind of get to know you nips, if you know what I mean. Like, they're just going to be kind of checking out that new foreign object that's entering their aquarium, but that can be incredibly stressful for the fish that you put into the aquarium. Now, what I usually do is I will turn off the aquarium light when I put in fish, so they kind of just can go into this dark environment, and that's totally fine. The other fish can't really pick on them because it's too dark for them to really focus on things, and by the time you turn the light back on in about an hour or two, then usually the fish are kind of used to the environment already a lot better than they would be. The fish that are already established in the tank kind of just like, alright. That is how I do drip acclimations. Now, honestly, it would have been great if I had that little clamp, the little the control valve, I'll call it, just to make the drip a lot easier than doing, something like a knot. But the knot can work. You don't have to spend money on a whole bunch of products all the time just to kind of do something simple. You can really do the job yourself, honestly. And there's other methods you can probably find, like those little paper clamps and stuff are really good for clamping down the hose, but not all the way, especially the smaller ones. So just control the water flow the best you can, but ideally you can just go to the store and get one of those little clamps. They're cheap, so and they're easy to lose apparently. So yeah, that's how I do my little drip acclimation. In my opinion, it's just the most subtle and calming way for the fish to go through it into a new aquarium. It just kind of is slow and steady, and it gets them in the tank a lot safer and stress-free. Now it looks like the fish are already getting used to things, and a lot of times fish are going to be a lot lighter when you put them in, just because they're stressed out. So it takes a little bit of time for them to color out back to the way they were. A lot of people will go to a fish store and they'll buy their fish and because it looks awesome in the store, and then they get it home and it's all like light and it lost all its color on the way there, and they're like, oh no, it's sick or something. That's not the case at all. Fish kind of have a light switch within them to kind of turn off their color a little bit when they're stressed out and they're not comfortable. Just give them some time to get used to the tank, and they're going to be great, and they're going to be super happy, and they're going to swim around with all your other fish, and life's going to be good. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's one I've been wanting to do for a while. It's one I said I would do in the past, and I appreciate you clicking on the video and hitting the like button. If you want to see more, you can hit that like button and hit the subscribe, and have some more videos coming out for you. So I really appreciate you guys watching the video. Leave a comment. I respond to every single one of them, and I love hearing from you guys. Let me know how you do your drip acclimations. Let me know if this way was completely bizarre to you, or let me know if you learned something, or maybe you have a whole new method, and maybe it'll be one that I want to try out. So thank you guys so much for watching the video. This is a method I've used for years and years, and it's always gotten me good results. So I hope it benefits you guys as well. Have a good rest of the day. Thank you.